There's 3 easy steps that we need to do to become an active and engaged leader. We've all heard about leaders who get so many resumes that they can't hire all the people interested in working for them. Why does that happen? What are we doing wrong? We all know true leaders are easy to see, and we want to know how to get there. I'm going to lay out the steps that I found that great leaders do to ensure that they're active and engaged. It's not hard, it just takes 3 easy steps. Step 1, listening. We all need to listen to our people, but not everyone is sure how to effectively do this. I remember the first time I met an outside consultant. They were hired to review our organization and make recommendations. My colleague said to me at the time, "You know what he's hired to do? He's hired to borrow your watch and tell the leader what time it is with your watch." I was like, I'm completely confused by that statement. What? Then after I thought about it a minute, it made sense. He's hired to listen to what I have to tell him and then write up his recommendations of what I said for the leader to understand and hear. I thought the whole thing was completely crazy. Why would this happen? And does this really go on? And yes, it's exactly what happens in organizations. In every management consultant I've dealt with over the years, this is exactly what they do. This is why listening is the most important thing that any leader needs to do in their organization. They need to get out of their area and go and speak to their employees. You have to ask them questions on what they really do and listen to what they have to say. The more you listen to your employees, you'll learn about what's happening in your organization and you'll learn how to improve it. Don't hire that management consultant. Do it yourself and you'll be better for it. It's that easy. That's all we have to do. Step 2, it's be in the trenches with our employees. We've all watched those TV coaches on screen where they stand on the sidelines and they tell their teams what they have to do. When the team does something wrong, they start yelling at their players that they didn't listen. They say they didn't run the play exactly as they said. Why does this happen? Why is the coach getting so upset and yelling at the players? He even pulls the player aside and directs them how to run the play. But that's not the solution for leadership. We all need to look at and say, what is real leadership? And the best leaders are the ones who work with you that are there in the trenches. They're there working side by side with you and figuring out how to fix the problem. They may not know how to fix every problem, but they're talking to you about how to solve it. I remember one boss, we had to work overnight to solve a technology upgrade. We knew we had to be there from 5 p.m. in the evening to 5 a.m. to complete the implementation. The boss didn't go home and wait for us to give him updates. He set up himself in the conference room with a computer. He was there all the time. He would walk around to check and see how we were doing. And at 8 p.m., he had pizzas delivered. And he walked around and made sure everyone took a break so they could eat. At midnight, when we were all dragging and stuck on a problem, he stopped us, brought us into the conference room where the whiteboard was, and he started drawing. He started asking us questions to help us figure out what was going on with the issue. And we understood that he was working with us to solve the problem. By him asking us questions, we started to understand what the problem was. He never left. When we left the next morning, he was still sitting there. I missed that leader. He knew there was nothing that could add value at times, but he never left us. That's the type of leader you want and you want to be all the time. You want to ensure that your employees know that you're there for them. And you know that your organization will function better if you're there with your employees. At this moment, I ask you to please subscribe if you like our videos. Click on that like button below and click subscribe. We'll continue to produce videos that make it interesting and engaging. Upcoming, I'm going to give you the best tip I've ever learned as a young leader that changed my outlook on collaboration. Step 3, planning. In today's world, we all try to put plans together, but a whole bunch of times you just start something without a plan. That's not the way successful leaders implement. We need to plan. We need to understand that planning is the end all and be all of what we need to do. But a plan is only a guide to get us there. It's not everything. When George Washington was going to battle with the Redcoats, he laid out a plan of attack for his men. He knew that he wasn't going to go exactly as they planned on that battlefield. But he was laying out a couple of situations and explaining to them to use their expertise as things changed on the battlefield. He knew what he had to do to get to the end goal he was trying to do. If George Washington knew how to do this, so can you as a leader. You need to set out a plan, but you need to put that plan together where you trust your people to modify it slightly as long as you're going for that goal. We have seen and heard so many leaders that care about the process, not the end goal. And that's wrong. We need to focus on the end goal to reach where we want to go, and then we all can win. That's where planning comes in. It's so essential in putting that plan together. It's always about not the specific process, but the steps and forward thinking on how to get there. That's what makes a good leader. In summary, great leaders are about listening, being in the trenches, and planning with an end goal in mind are the key aspects to get their people empowered, and you want to be that great leader. All leaders want to be there for us in those difficult situations. These are the qualities we see in great leaders and are there to ensure that they achieve the right goals. In this technology age, where leaders are all around, they shouldn't be sitting up in the ivory tower barking orders at us. They will never get what they want, and we won't get what we want. Leaders who work with their teams are the ones who are going to accomplish more in organizations than anybody else. You can be that leader. Just take these steps and go take it on, and you can accomplish it. It's all within your grasps.